All right, so let's get right into this. You've probably seen the headlines. Marvel star Simu Liu made some pretty strong comments about Asian representation in Hollywood, basically saying it's taking a nosedive. And look, it's a feeling a lot of people share. But there's another side to the story, a really interesting counter-narrative that says the problem isn't what we think it is. And today, we're going to break down that very different take.
So this is where it all kicked off, this post right here from Simu Liu on Threads. He didn't mince words at all. He called the situation an appalling backslide and said studios basically see Asian talent as a risk. I mean, that's a huge statement coming from the star of Shang-Chi, and it, of course, just lit up the internet. And right here, this is where the counter-argument just flips the whole script. This perspective says, hold on a second, maybe Hollywood doesn't have a big systemic Asian representation problem right now. Instead, the argument is that Hollywood might just have a Simu Liu problem. Yeah, so let's unpack what that actually means.
So, as you can imagine, Liu's post kicked up a massive storm online. You had fans, critics, everyone jumping in. But in all that noise, this really different, you could say, provocative interpretation started to take shape. One that put the spotlight not on the industry, but squarely on the actor himself.
Okay, so what is this counterargument? Well, some have called it the Simu's problem thesis. And honestly, it's a pretty fascinating theory about what might be going on behind the curtain in Hollywood. Let's break down the main pillars of this idea.
So, the core idea of the Simu problem thesis is this. The problem isn't an industry-wide bias against Asian actors. No, the argument is that the challenge is centered specifically on Simu Liu himself. It suggests that his own public persona and, his marketability are the real reasons for the professional hurdles he's feeling, not some big systemic issue. Now, to back this up, this perspective points to this huge wave of success we're seeing for other Asian actors and Asian-led projects. And well, that seems to fly right in the face of Liu's claim of a backslide. So let's actually look at the evidence they bring up.
And this right here really gets to the heart of the argument. You've got Simu Liu on one side talking about a backslide, and on the other, you have Huy Quan. I mean, his comeback is one of the best stories Hollywood has had in years. He's got an Oscar, he's in a bunch of huge projects, his career is just rocketing upwards.
And just look at his recent work. After that unbelievable Oscar-winning role in Everything Everywhere All at Once, he jumps right into being a major character in the massive Disney Plus series Loki. He was in American-Born Chinese, and now he's voicing a character in the new Zootopia 2. That doesn't exactly scream backslide. That's a career resurgence, big time.
But the argument goes deeper. It's not just Huy Quan. His Oscar-winning co-star, the legend Michelle Yeoh, is about to be in the gigantic movie adaptation of Wicked. You've got icons like Jackie Chan and James Hong who are still working all the time. And then you have new stars like Ben Wang, who people are already calling the future of kung fu movies.
And this goes beyond just individual actors. The global appetite for Asian-led projects is insane right now. Squid Game wasn't just a hit, it was a global phenomenon, one of Netflix's biggest shows of all time. You've got anime films like Demon Slayer making more money at the box office than some major Hollywood blockbusters. It seems pretty clear that audiences are absolutely craving this kind of content.
Okay, so if the industry is embracing all these other Asian actors and projects, what is the deal with Simu Liu? Why does he feel like he's on the outside looking in? Well, this counter-narrative has a two-part diagnosis for the specific pushback it claims he's getting.
The whole argument really boils down to two things. First, his public persona. And second, his marketability, or really, his lack of it, when it comes to the huge and incredibly important Chinese box office.
So part one of this diagnosis is all about his public persona. The argument points to this one specific moment on the Canadian TV show Dragon's Den. Liu confronted a business owner about cultural appropriation related to boba tea. The claim is that the way he handled it just came off as really aggressive and kind of helped create a negative public image for him.
Part two is all about the money. It's business. Apparently, some past comments Liu allegedly made about China came back to light, and because of that, his massive Marvel movie, Shang-Chi, was never released in China. Now, for a global studio losing access to a market that big, that's a massive financial hit, and it makes any actor tied to that loss a pretty big risk for future blockbusters.
And this quote from the analysis really just says it all, doesn't it? It directly compares Liu to other actors who have faced their own public backlash, and it suggests he's pointing the finger at the industry instead of taking responsibility for his own missteps. It's a really sharp critique, but it is absolutely central to this Simu problem thesis.
But this theory isn't just about one actor's career.
The final piece of the puzzle is about a much, much bigger trend that is totally reshaping the entertainment industry and the kinds of stories that are being made.
So the argument here is that Hollywood is basically having a content crisis. A lot of its big, established Western franchises are kind of running on fumes. So what are the studios doing? They're looking to the East for fresh, beloved stories and characters that already have a huge built-in global audience. They need to fill that void. And you can see the proof everywhere, right? We just saw the Super Mario Bros. Movie make $1 billion. There's always talk about a new live-action Dragon Ball movie. And K-pop, manga, and anime, these aren't niche hobbies anymore. They are global cultural juggernauts that Hollywood is scrambling to get a piece of.
So, what's the takeaway here? Is Simu Liu's frustration a result of his own unique situation, or is he the canary in the coal mine, warning us about a much bigger, industry-wide problem with Asian representation? This analysis makes a very strong case for the first option, but it's just one side of a really complicated and important conversation. So the question is, what do you think? Is this a Simu Liu problem, or is it a Hollywood problem? The debate is definitely not over.